Hey everyone, welcome back with Bean O Mac. Today we are going to continue our playthrough of Smackdown vs. Raw. Oop, my bad, it's actually WWE Smackdown. Here comes the pain. And we're going to continue with July. We're continuing our month-by-month playthrough with the Big Red Machine Kane. And we get the opportunity right away, finally, a world title shot. And it looks like we're going to follow that up with taking on Triple H and Randy Orton in Evolution, the champ, along with Kevin Nash. This would actually be a pretty awesome match in real life. And I was not ready. I keep doing that by accident, like exiting the ring. I mean, it probably helped in that situation, but I kind of just keep mashing buttons to get back up. But man, imagine that kind of team. Kane and Kevin Nash. Diesel and fake Diesel. I think that would be a really funny team or a callback. I don't know why I just did that. God damn it. Get out of the way, Earl Hebner. The referees in these early games, I don't know when it got better, but like, I think in just bringing it, like I said, I think I mentioned in a previous video, the referees in this game do not get out of the way. Like, why is he just standing there? For a submission, sure, but alright, now he's finally got on the way. Earl Hebner, he didn't care. When did I'm trying to remember when Earl Hebner actually got released from the WWE. I think it was 2005, which it's really sad, you know, that whole situation. I don't know the exact type of deal. You know, I guess it would be kind of shitty if he did really sell, you know, apparently he was let go, him and his brother, for selling fake merchandise, some knockoff WWE merchandise, especially without the company's consent. They both say no, we weren't selling it. We were, in fact, you know, it was just well known that they made, you know, merchandise based off of, you know, the stars and whatnot for everybody. You know, just as like gifts and stuff like that. But you know, I could kind of believe the Hebners. It just seems like a weird thing, especially. You know, and I think he had an interview later on where he said that, you know, he's never going to accept the Hall of Fame induction or coming back. And, you know, after being screwed over like that, I don't blame him. Coach sounds like he's in a similar position. Jonathan Coachman, when he came back to WWE after, you know, his initial stint, I think he said that one of his checks bounced and he didn't think it was too big of a deal. But then when he went to ask Vince, that you know, pretty much nothing ever really got taken care of, you know, and he had a good point. You know, Vince, it was, you know, nothing to him. He's a billionaire, so the fact that Vince didn't just say, hey, you know, I'll take care of it, let's, you know, I'll take care of this for you, take it in my own personal bank account, no big deal, sorry about that, coach. I can kind of get his viewpoint. But obviously, you know, I mean, we've heard so many scummy stories about Vince over the years, unfortunately, and obviously he's in the biggest story of his career at this point, you know. It's kind of interesting for a lot of people, you know, I think a lot of people would look past the majority of his stuff, but the sex scandal that he's unfortunately in at this moment, not trying to downplay it by saying that. I mean, it's his fault entirely. It's just unfortunate that it's happened. It's definitely the end of any sort of good will or legacy that anyone could ever have for Vince. Because, I mean, it's not just that Janelle Grant anymore, the paralegal, I think it was. It's now, you know, we find out Ashley, and that's just such a sad thing to hear. You know, you hear nothing but good stories about Ashley and Mazzaro, and, you know, the fact that she was, apparently, there was chances she was not only, you know, taken advantage of by Vince and John Laurinaitis, you know, Johnny Ace, for those of you who don't know. But, apparently, you know, she was unfortunately assaulted. I'll just say that. Overseas at tribute to the troops by a doctor, unfortunately, and you know, it's just so sad that the world is filled with such, you know, disgusting human beings. and that, you know, we have to unfortunately deal with the fallout from that at this point too. And, you know, I don't really care what anybody says. I mean, there's no way that, you know, people like Stephanie and, you know, I'm assuming Triple H too. I mean, if she knew, I'm sure he did too. And Shane McMahon probably too, but it's just so sad that they knew, and, you know, it's just more worried about how a company looks rather than, you know, humans. But, you know, I guess I have a very cynical point of view. Unfortunately, probably bringing the tone of the video down, unfortunately, but so I'll try and pick it back up. But I thought that was pretty funny, just seeing Earl Hebner toss off Kevin Nash off the rope, top rope, a minute ago. I wish there was also a way in this game that you could change the outfits of all the characters, even the people you're fighting in season mode. Because, I mean, you know, if I was facing Kane, I'd like to have him in his mask too. And obviously, I'd like to have, I think Triple H has alternate attires in this game. I think he has one based off of his Royal Rumble 2003 one. The purple one's obviously the WrestleMania 19, and then I think he has a suit, which is interesting. This is one of the few games not to have his traditional black trunks after he debuted in it. Oh man, Chris Jericho. The storylines in this game were pretty simple, but like I said, they're just good enough to kind of get you invested in what's going on here. And the camera angles are kind of interesting too. Like, they're very shaky, and it makes me laugh a lot of the times. Harry Bischoff's always got to put himself over. Did they even have like a fair GM at this time? Like, cause I don't remember Stephanie McMahon's run as SmackDown GM too much, but I don't think she was exactly, you know, a face at this time. But I could be wrong. I know once she got the blonde hair, it didn't matter what she did. Yeah, she was a face to me. She was a good girl. That sounded weird, but you know what I mean. Like, let's have a good guy, good girl. Not helping myself here. But that's pretty interesting. I like the idea of the tournament. I just don't like the idea of the 2-on-2 tag team tournament. But they did have some pretty interesting concepts for storylines in this game. I will give them that. I think they could have done it for the time. I think it's just they were still having to build upon year after year to the point to where, you know, obviously we eventually did get really good looking games with some really nice cutscenes and great stories, such as 2006 and 7 on the PS2. But you know, when you have to do a yearly release every time, it kind of gets to that point where, you know, I understand why they couldn't immediately go from 0 to 100. I think that's why Just Bring It didn't look very good. I think that's why, you know, at this point it still looks a little iffy, and I'm sure they were still learning how to mess around with the hardware itself. Plus, I think Ukes also was developing multiple games at this time. So, you know, I think the Day of Reckoning series, I think they were the ones that developed the Xbox games too. So, I mean, that's a lot of pressure for a company, which makes it kind of all the more infuriating that, you know, they didn't have the Aki series work on, you know, the GameCube or whatever. I think the idea was that they didn't always reach their deadline, and that was kind of the issue as to why, you know, they eventually dropped Aki, which I don't know how true that is, because I think, you know, No Mercy came out before Smackdown 2, if I remember correctly, a whole month actually early. So, I mean, it's just kind of really lame that we kind of got screwed over in that respect. But quite the interesting dichotomy here. Obviously now we got to face Kevin Nash when he was our partner last week. I wonder if it was actually, you know, like actually programmed into the game, because obviously Randy Orton is now his tag partner, if that was intentional or if, you know, it just happened to be random. But I think that's pretty cool. It's always nice when, you know, coincidences like this happen in these games. It really makes it feel like the stories are kind of coming together in a way. Like, you know, you can kind of imagine after this, you know, Kevin and Nash and Randy Orton are going to be feuding after this. Well, that's if I win. Wink, wink. And they're kind of, he's kind of kicking my ass right now, I'm not going to lie. It's interesting to this day just to think that two of the people in this ring, even though they had already wrestled for quite a bit, well, I guess Randy Orton not so much, but Chris Jericho had already wrestled for quite a few years at this point. I mean, there's two people still wrestling on a full-time basis in this ring. Randy Orton gets injured kind of frequently, and I don't mean that in like a dick way or anything like that. But, you know, he definitely has a lot of issues with injuries. So, I mean, he's a very talented wrestler. He's already made his legacy. So it's kind of one of those things of, obviously he loves it, and that's why he keeps doing it. But it's one of those things where you don't want to see somebody keep getting hurt like that, especially a legend. And, you know, obviously we've seen Sting get hurt with the buckle bomb in the ring. We've seen Ric Flair legitimately almost die in the ring. So it's kind of one of those things of, you kind of wish people would, you know, I feel like, you know, kind of like shit saying this, because obviously I'm not the wrestler. I couldn't even do one move in the ring without hurting myself. But it's one of those things where you don't like to see people get hurt. And, you know, Randy Orton doesn't even look old or anything like that. He still looks like he's in great shape. He's ripped and jacked and intimidating to this day. It's just, you know, I can't emphasize enough. I haven't really finished my point. It's just, I don't want to see anybody get hurt for, you know, being in the industry for too long. You know, I also worry about guys like Edge and Daniel Bryan, whose, you know, careers, you know, even 10 years ago when you look at 2012, actually it's almost 15 years at this point, you know, wrestling wasn't really as crazy as it got in like a few years later, you know. I mean, you had guys like Evan Bourne, and you had some more out there kind of matches every now and then, but you know, Johnny Nitro or John Morrison, whatever name you want to call him. But I think even then, that wasn't when things were like super insane and modern, you know, mainstream wrestling like they are now with AEW and, you know, all the people in Japan and so, you know, all the crazy 40-minute matches on Raw where they go the distance and do all these crazy things. So, I mean, for them to come back in today's environment, Daniel Bryan and Edge, after having, you know, to retire due to legit issues, which, you know, I think some people have argued that they made Daniel Bryan retire. But, I mean, the dude really got messed up every time he came back. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where you kind of worry, you know. Especially, you know, with the whole head injuries, now the things that we know about him. And, you know, Edge, he pretty much said if he took one wrong bump, he was paralyzed. So, I know he got the surgery, but it kind of makes me wonder, you know, could a surgery really change it that much? Is he going to be safe if he takes the wrong bump and whatnot? You know, once again, it's a love of the industry. There's no doubt about it, of doing what you do, and I can understand the craziness of it can't be easy to give that up, the roar of the crowd, but it's one of those things where, for their sake, you wish that they could. Because, I mean, once again, it's, what are they going to add? Daniel Bryan, I guess, is still going in AEW, so I can't really say that, but, you know, Edge, he came back, he had, you know, and he had kind of the lame match with Randy Orton, and then I can't really think of anything else he did, honestly. I mean, not to be rude or anything like that, it's just, some people don't need to come back. And that's kind of how I feel about Chris Jericho, to be honest. I'm not a big I used to be a pretty big Chris Jericho fan, so now a lot of people, if they're actually listening to this, are probably going to be thinking they weren't, too enthused with what I had to say to begin with, but now I'm just going to straight piss off a lot of people with my Chris Jericho thoughts, but, I am not a fan of him anymore. I'm just, I loved him during the Attitude Era. I thought he was pretty funny in WCW, and I don't know if I would say he would be a main eventer there. It just, to me, when I was watching it, he really didn't seem like he fit the vibe of what WCW was trying to do. But in WWE, it definitely kind of clicked almost right away. A lot of people said he was kind of, jobbed down the card at first and whatnot. But I don't know. In my opinion, once again, I think it was just because I didn't really believe in him as a major star at that WCW once again, and he had the makings of it, but I think what he was doing, it just kind of felt almost amateurish in a way. I mean, he had a really awesome debut. He went pretty good on the mic with The Rock and Undertaker. Then after that, I mean, just what he was doing just felt so... It didn't feel main event worthy in that way, I mean, I liked the idea that he was going to have the feud with Ken Shamrock, and I thought he did some entertaining things, but I don't know. I mean, I think he definitely got to that skill set pretty quickly, but I didn't really think he was anything special when he first debuted, which, is fair enough. It takes people a lot of time to kind of develop and grow in front of the audience. I think that's something a lot of wrestling fans don't understand nowadays with the internet. Letting storylines develop and characters grow before they kind of get to that right where they need to be, in my opinion. But, even Triple H in 1999, I mean, he won the world title, and it took years before he even got to that point. Even when he first won it, I mean, I don't think he really deserved it. It wasn't until he started the McMahon-Helmsley storyline, in my opinion, where I could really take him seriously as a top guy. I didn't really think his feud with Stone Cold in 99 was too special. It was entertaining, but it just didn't seem like it was as good as other stuff that year. But I mean, Chris Jericho now, I loved him when he turned face in the Attitude Era, and then so many great promos and moments. I love the stuff he did with Stephanie. The match with Triple H where he won the title but then it got stripped was great. I think he should have been at WrestleMania 2000. I think it would have been a pretty cool match to see. But, and it felt like even later on, when he was having feuds with X-Pac and stuff and First Blood matches, it felt like they were wasting his potential at that time. And it's too bad what happened when he actually did win the title, because I thought he was still pretty great in the Ruthless Aggression era. But then, once again, I think they just kept putting him in feuds that just didn't really mean all that much, because I don't think they really looked at him as a top star, which he himself pretty much said, when he won the title. Vince said, yeah, business must be really down for putting the belt on Jericho, which, is kind of a dick thing to say. But then I think when he came back, obviously it wasn't the best, but then he had his feud with Shawn Michaels. Once again, it takes a few months for people to kind of find their footing and stuff. And then obviously they had a really amazing feud, and I thought he was pretty good, with Jericho. And then obviously his stuff with Smackdown on Edge, or with Edge on Smackdown, I mean. You could tell at that time when he came back, that was the start of when he was kind of getting a little out of shape, right? To where you were a little concerned, Jericho, he's looking a little chubby here. And then obviously nowadays he's in AEW, and I think he was kind of already ruining it for me because he kept winning. He kept losing pretty much every single match they ever came out to and stuff like that. And he would come back and return, come back, or leave and return, leave and return, leave and return. And I mean, it would have been pretty cool if he won the 2010 Royal Rumble like he was supposed to. And I'm a big Sheamus fan saying that. But other than that, I mean, it just felt like he always won when he shouldn't have. But then he would always lose every other match, He lost to Fandango at WrestleMania. I get it. He had really popular song. I don't care. That does not justify to me that guy should have went over on Chris Jericho, especially at WrestleMania, which once again was a Chris Jericho call, which I'm not a big fan of how he thinks as far as things go at WrestleMania, not WrestleMania, at AEW, which I'll get to in a minute, but I'll say there was that. Then I think he beat AJ Styles too, eventually on a big pay-per-view when AJ Styles came back. That shouldn't have been the case, I don't think. But he beat Dolph Ziggler at the big blow-off match in 2012, I think it was, before he left to go on tour again for the summer. Which, Dolph Ziggler got his win back to, quote-unquote, kick Chris Jericho out of the company, for the few months that he was gone in 2013 or 2012. But once again, the wrong guy won the feud when Dolph Ziggler, I think, should have won. And I think Chris Jericho, once again, lost, a bunch of meaningless matches to that point. And then, when he came back with the point where I really didn't like Chris Jericho, and a part of it is probably the fact that I think, maybe it's bias on my point, I'm not going to lie, on my part, because, I think he is a little overrated. If you said, he could keep reinventing himself and it was great in 2012, 2013, I'd probably agree with you, I definitely would. But then it got a little silly with the list, and, I get he was kind of returning the form a little bit there, and it was popular, I'm not gonna argue that. It got over pretty well, but I think he also overestimated how well it got over. I don't think it should have been, what was it, second match on the card he was talking about with Kevin Owens at that year's WrestleMania after they had the whole, tag team with him and Kevin Owens with the Universal title and stuff like that. And, I'm sure it could have gone on, main event or something like that at WrestleMania. Just because I'm kind of that traditionalist where if, Kevin Owens was the Universal Champion, it should go on last. I always hated that when the winner of the Royal Rumble didn't go to main event WrestleMania. But, I just think, Goldberg coming back with Brock Lesnar there, I don't care what anybody says, more people were interested to see that. I was kind of off the product for a little while before that, and I came back just to watch that match. So, it's about the spectacle. It's kind of like, people argue The Rock and Hulk Hogan should have went on last type deal. And I actually really liked the Goldberg and Brock Lesnar match, their second encounter at WrestleMania. And then once he got to AEW, Chris Jericho, I haven't watched it. So in all fairness, take what I have to say with a grain of salt, but it sounds like he has not really done anything good there. He keeps, once again, I think the wrong guy won when it sounded like he was in his feud with Orange Cassidy, but it sounded like he was going over pretty much everybody else. Or if he was not going over, people just didn't really care. Kane and Triple H look like they're about to kiss or something. But then, nowadays it sounds like he's a wizard, and it's just kind of like, dude, what are you doing? Like, it sounds like he gets complete total reign of what he wants to do in AEW, but he's just kind of loony. He's just not really doing anything of note. One thing I had to agree with on Jim Cornette with, I seen this clip where he said a while ago they were doing a tournament finals with the NBA, and then afterwards there would be an AEW match, which was Chris Jericho in a tag team against two other people, I think. And Chris Jericho looked awful. And if I seen Chris Jericho happen to stick around after the NBA playoffs or finals or whatever it was, and seeing Chris Jericho and how he looked at that time, and he looks awful. I'm sorry, I think I mentioned it in a previous video. There's probably a lot of Jericho appreciators probably are not a big fan of me. Like I said, I really love Jericho in the Attitude Era. One of my favorites. I think he was literally completely underrated in the Attitude Era. I think he was pretty much at that Austin and Rock level. well, maybe a Triple H kind of level. Like, Kurt Angle, Triple H. I think he could have been a massive star if the company got behind him, which obviously he is. I'm just saying he could have been a bigger one if the company looked at him that way. But no, I gotta say, nowadays he's just kind of, he's old. He shouldn't be wrestling. He looks goofy, like I was mentioning earlier. I think there's a time where people should probably hang up the boots, whether it's injuries or if it's, just the way they look. I know there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on that. There might even be, once again, if people actually are, watching this deep into the video, they're probably going to, send me death threats in the channel or something stupid like that because I dissed or, didn't say I like their favorite wrestler or whatever, or AEW. But, I'm kind of just here for debate. And so, if you disagree with me, that's fine. It's just, I don't know. I don't think Chris Jericho has it the same way they did. And I think AEW, we've seen a lot of people that think like, okay, WWE is stupid, it's silly. They have Hornswoggle and the midgets. They had, Vince McMahon wrestling God. And then they'll go in AEW and they'll do really stupid, cartoony, goofy, dumb stuff themselves. And you're just like, really? You're going to talk crap about how terrible you were booked in WWE, and then you go to AEW where you kind of have a lot more control, and, you're going to do stupid stuff with, like, being a bodyguard for your buddy's wedding, or, you're going to do silly stuff with crash pads or the Jericho Appreciation Society, the Dark Order. There was just a lot of the things that, I've heard of. I just do not like the idea. And I've never been a fan of indie wrestling. So that's kind of, from what I've seen, AEW is like the high-end indie production. I don't really care what anybody says on that aspect. They definitely have some really great talent. But, I remember watching TNA back in the day. And, you could kind of argue, okay, maybe some people didn't really like that style of wrestling. It was an alternative to WWE at the time. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, the X Division as a whole, were kind of the guys that were carrying it in a lot of ways. So, maybe you could argue that that was kind of indie-ish. I don't really think I would say too much, at least not to the same degree AEW is, but AEW feels very amateurish. And, if that's what you're into, like indie stuff, I don't really see an issue with that. It's just, you got to be able to take the criticism with that. People criticize WWE all the time. The Attitude Era, that's my favorite, era of wrestling. But there was so much stupid crap in both the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. So people dogging on that, I don't blame them. Look at these two here. The necrophilia, I can't even remember, Katie Vick storyline. That was awful. They had the miscarriage storyline in the Attitude Era, all that sort of stuff. And I still love the Attitude Era. I don't like those parts, but I can still acknowledge that was lame, that was stupid. And at the end of the day, not everybody likes it. So, it's kind of sad to see everybody always arguing, and, having an opinion is fine. I've sure as hell shared my opinion on here. It's just really sad when people just kind of go to name calling or, pretty much insulting people personally or death threats, and it's sad that that's literally the case. And I don't think it's just, 13-year-olds, if we're being honest. Did that bat just fall through the floor? Oh, never mind. I thought it was like we were back to WrestleMania 2000 here for a second. Oh, that was awesome. Oh, that sucks. Ooh, you can still see the steam on him. But I got him back. Alright, if I can beat him here, I think that's a good indication that I can beat him at the pay-per-view. But man, he does not take very much damage. This is weird. I feel like is it just me, or does he get a lot more momentum when he does attacks compared to me? I thought he was about to throw me back in there again. It's kind of cool that the steam stays on you for a few seconds. Man, he keeps throwing me back in the shower. There we go. Now I can finally get the damn chair. I gotta say, even though there was way more areas to fight in Shut Your Mouth, and I can't quite remember because I remember in Just Bring It there was a lot. Like I think that had the most areas you could fight in, but the areas were not interactable. They were just essentially empty rooms with weapons. And you could kind of argue the same for No Mercy to a degree. I mean, they have like stuff you can slam people through. And obviously, you know, fight on the truck and stuff like that. So I think it's more than that, especially the spacing. Some areas are bigger than others. But even though there's less arenas, they really gave each and every arena jam-packed with, you know, just stuff to throw your opponent into, interactable objects and areas. I mean, you cannot downplay how great the Here Comes the Pain backstage brawls are. It's too bad that they're just kind of backstage brawls now, too, and you can't just go wherever anymore. I think, actually, do they do that? Because I know they brought it back to where you can just leave the stage and go backstage during matches, but I can't remember if, I thought they removed it in the 2K series, but you guys have to, you know, inform me on that. But now it's time to beat down Jericho for, you know, tarnishing his legacy, in my opinion. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think of AEW Chris Jericho. And, you know, I'd even be up for it if you guys send me some clips or, you know, tell me to check out, you know, a match or whatever. Just say, you know, he's still got it. Check him out. You know, he's got some good promos, this and that. Because, you know, I'm up for, you know, checking that stuff out. And, you know, if I disagree, I'll still disagree with you. But, you know, I am interested, you know, once again, I want more debate rather than just, you know, making people feel like they have wrong opinions or anything like that. But now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say I'm backpedaling or something stupid like that. The flapjack. That's a crazy move. I forget, was this the time period where Chris Jericho had that King of the World song? Like, I know he doesn't have it in this game, but maybe it's next game. I know that Edge has the Rob Zombie song in Smackdown versus Raw, the original one. But I think like Chris Jericho had, I think it was called King of the World by Saliva. They were actually a pretty big band for a little while. It's kind of sad that, you know, the modern rock really just kind of almost fizzled out in the mainstream for pretty much, it felt like after like 2007 or something like that. The bands just kind of weren't as big, I guess. Which, I mean, honestly, you know, rock still has a pretty big audience. Just not as big as it once was. I think I mentioned in a previous video how, you know, whiny I think some rock bands sound today. But once again, that's up for debate. Oof, that was smooth. Man, it's amazing. This is hard mode. Yeah, this is hard mode. But it is kind of crazy still how much they reverse you in this game at times. I don't think I'm gonna win. Yeah, I didn't think so. By the way, guys, feel free if you know what you want to see me play next after Here Comes the Pain. It could even be for, you know, other days of the week, you know, fighting games or, you know, miscellaneous games. Just any game, you know, from this kind of era you'd like to see me play. See, this is what I'm talking about. I can't even get a move in. And I'm trying to keep up with them, but finally. Man, I cannot hit that proper clothesline. I finally got it, but I remember when that slingshot move in Smackdown and Smackdown 2 used to send you out of the ring. The Royal Rumbles were so crazy back in the day. Like, I don't care. I would love to see the man on YouTube who can start in the match at 1 and then make it and win the whole match at 30 without having to, be eliminated and change a character. So I remember when I played Smackdown 2, I mean, I came in at literally 30, and I think I went to throw somebody out of the ring, and somehow I just missed. Like, it felt like there were times where I wouldn't lean forward enough, so I didn't grab him, but my opponent grabbed me, and I just got eliminated in like 2 seconds, and it was so lame because once you get thrown in that game, if you don't reverse it, I mean, it doesn't matter. You're out. All right, he's got to be finished at this point. The gold is mine. All right. I think this playthrough is about to get a lot more interesting. This was a really fun storyline, I'm not going to lie. I'm not the biggest fan of tag matches, but it was not as bad as I thought. The earlier SmackDown titles are a lot worse. But I think by the time, SmackDown versus Raw 2006, I think that's when things kind of got a little more reasonable with the tag matches. Now we got this cool little, opening vignette. It sucks though. I mean, I wish he would be in the mask right now. I wish there was just like an option you can turn whatever outfit you want on and off for everybody. Like I mentioned earlier, I feel like that would have been a lot cooler. And even though SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, I think had multiple outfits for every character you had to unlock. But I mean, it was still just really cool that, I think the outfits in this game are still really great. But it really makes me wonder like what the deal was with SmackDown vs. Raw, why they stopped having so many outfits, because I think there were just the 2 you could buy in the shop, and then you had to do challenge mode to unlock like Evolution outfits, and it was just them in their suits. And I mean, I don't know, why did they get rid of the multiple costumes for a while? They eventually got back to the point where then you could do superstar threads, and eventually, I think by, the next gen games like WWE 12 and 13 and 14 especially, because they had to use all the outfits for Road to WrestleMania. Not Road to WrestleMania, I mean, showcase mode. I think that's when they really started to bring them back once again. And now they have like crazy outfits like, Cody Rhodes as an action figure in the new game. I think there's even somebody else who had the action figure outfit. I just can't remember. I think John Cena had it for last year's game. But I don't know. For whatever reason, we just had a really bad drought with costumes for a little while. Would have been cool too. Like SmackDown 2, I feel like would have been the perfect game to have multiple outfits. Because I mean, we already had the special guest referee outfits for every character, and then there were alternate outfits that you could create yourself. So it's just really weird that obviously that stuff existed on the disc. So it's kind of weird that they didn't have 2 Kane outfits and 2 Perry Saturn outfits, because it's beta outfits in that game. Eddie Guerrero, a classic version of the Hardys from SmackDown 1. Same with the Dudleys and stuff. It's kind of just makes you wonder, like, did they just not feel like doing it? Were they told by WWE not to? Because I think after, when they were developing Just Bring It, they said, yeah, you can't have, the classic superstars and their models anymore, and you can't have people edit the pre-existing wrestlers, I think, which, I don't know, I think it was something about their contracts and the rights to the superstars, but that's just kind of lame. Man, his momentum's building up fast. Jeez, he's already got 2 finishers. Come on. This is not going well. He is kicking my ass. I gotta... Oh, didn't go for the finisher. Oh, come on. No way. He is. Chris Jericho was not happy what I had to say about him earlier. It's kind of cool that it's the storyline, but... Well, I guess he's not going to do anything anyway. Man, I'm already... I forget in this game that when you're in orange, you act like you're hurt, and that's... Oh, no. Yes! Man, but he's still not damaged. That's insane to me. Oh, well, he wasn't gonna lose anyway. I mean, I beat him in the backstage brawl, and it was not easy. I'll give it that. But I mean, come on, I can't lose it. Wait, what the hell? Oh no. Oh, come on. This is getting ridiculous. What? So you can just come into the ring whenever he wants? I mean, it was funny when Triple H punched him. We're playing a dangerous game here, fellas. And he keeps reversing all my weapon shots too, so I can't really build up momentum fast, but it's gonna have to be what I'm gonna try and do. Interesting that the Smackdown ref is at this event. Come on, man, this is getting ridiculous. Come on. Jeepers creepers. Are you serious? This is getting ridiculous. I can't hit him with a weapon for nothing. I can't hit him in general. Oh, damn it. Yeah, this is getting to the point where I just can't do anything. Are you oh, come on. This is getting crazy. Getting goofy in here. Are you serious? He's still not getting hit by anything. Come on. This is finally comeback time. All right. Oh no, this is gonna be a rope break. All right, we can still do it. We can still do it. I just got to get a few, or maybe not. If I can use the chair to get another finisher, I think I can win. But then again, I can't hit him with it. There we go, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, I thought he was gonna go for the chair finisher. Okay, yeah, there's no chance. No! Oh no. Yeah, there's no way I'm kicking out of this. Come on. Oh, and he's smart enough to drag me away from the ropes. Oh shit. Come on. Oh yeah, there he is. He definitely helped him win the match. No doubt about that. I guess he didn't really do too much, but I feel like I would have at least done a little bit better if he wasn't there. But, you know, I guess beggars... They both are world champion now. Makes sense. Co-world champions. Mad treaties. I'll just say that. So many treaties in this game. If that ain't a treaty, I don't know what is. Wait a second, am I gonna have to defend my title again? The hardcore belt? Oh yeah. I guess he's right. I brought it on myself being the hardcore champ. That'd be crazy if if you're a hardcore champ and during a match someone can just interfere and take your belt. Let's just make this easy. Gonna throw him off the truck. Okay, don't throw me off. Come on. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh jeez. Alright, I guess I'm not too damaged. I don't think he's gonna go for a pin though. That'd be crazy if you could throw somebody into that and then all those crates fall on him. I don't think you can. That's how that works though. But come on, I can't lose 2 titles tonight. I guess at the end of the day, I mean, it'd be kind of boring if I won the title first try and, you know, make it predictable. So, you know, I'm going to be able to eventually get another shot. Hopefully, I think it's Survivor Series where you do the Elimination Chamber storyline. I think that's the most fun. Oh, shit. I don't think there's any way to get off of this naturally, so I don't know what to do. I do not. Okay, he's ready for a pin, but how am I supposed to get down? Alright, that was obviously not the right choice there. Oh no. Oh shit. Come on, kick out. Kick out! Shit. Well, jeez. I mean, that was definitely a depressing episode. Not gonna lie. I mean, I lost my hardcore title. I didn't win the world heavyweight title, but like I said, I mean, I guess it makes it interesting, you know, being the chase for the belt, so. Alright though, folks, that's all for this week. Remember, new wrestling game playthroughs every single Wednesday, so stay tuned for next week's episode of Wrestling Wednesday. Like and subscribe and ring the bell for daily notifications on videos and posts. Hockey N64 playthroughs and shenanigans every Sunday as well, so check that out if you're interested. Above all else though, please remember to have a nice day.